The Winged Shadow. The Winged Shadow, the legend of Drogon and Daenerys. The ashes had barely settled over the ruined city of King's Landing when the heavy thud of massive wings shook the crumbling walls of the Red Keep. Drogon, the largest and most terrifying dragon the world had ever seen, descended into the throne room, only to find his mother, Queen Daenerys Targaryen, lying lifeless on the cold floor. She had been betrayed and stabbed through the heart by her lover, Jon Snow. The beast roared, a sound of pure heartbreak that echoed through the blackened skies. Jon Snow closed his eyes, expecting to be burned alive by the dragon's wrath. But Drogon's fury was not meant for the killer, it was meant for the very thing that destroyed his mother's soul. Turning his massive jaws toward the iconic Iron Throne, the seat of absolute power made of 1,000 melted swords, Drogon unleashed a torrent of white-hot, catastrophic fire. Within seconds, the throne that had caused centuries of bloodshed melted into a pool of useless, glowing slag. Carefully picking up Daenerys' lifeless body in his massive talons, the dragon flew out into the eastern clouds, disappearing from the world forever. But how did this tragic end begin? Years before this ultimate tragedy, dragons were nothing but myths, dead fossils from history books. Daenerys Targaryen was an exiled princess, forced into a political marriage with Khal Drogo, a fierce warlord. As a wedding gift, she was given 3 petrified dragon eggs, which everyone believed were just beautiful stones. However, when Khal Drogo died due to a curse, a heartbroken Daenerys built a massive funeral pyre for him. In a shocking move, she placed the heavy stone eggs on the wood and walked straight into the roaring flames herself. The next morning, as the smoke cleared, her followers wept, thinking their queen was dead. Instead, they found her sitting untouched amidst the ashes, unharmed by the fire. Clinging to her body were 3 newborn dragons. The largest one, covered in pitch black and blood-red scales, let out a piercing screech toward the sky. She named him Drogon, in memory of her fallen husband. As the beasts grew to the size of monsters, Daenerys trained them with a single lethal command, Dracarys, the Valyrian word for dragonfire. The world first witnessed the horror of this command in the slave city of Astapor. An arrogant slave master tried to humiliate Daenerys, demanding one of her dragons in exchange for an army of soldiers. Daenerys agreed, handing Drogon's chain to the master. But the moment the army's control was hers, she turned to her dragon and commanded, "Dracarys!" Drogon instantly broke free, unleashing a sea of fire that turned the slave master into a pile of charred bones in seconds. Soon, Drogon grew larger than an elephant. When he flew, his massive wings cast a giant darkness over entire villages, earning him the terrifying title the Winged Shadow. He became fiercely independent and aggressive, once accidentally killing a child in a hunger-driven frenzy. Devastated, Daenerys was forced to chain her other 2 dragons in a dark dungeon for safety, but the clever Drogon escaped into the skies, remaining wild and free for months. He only returned when his mother needed him most. While ruling the city of Meereen, a shadow rebel group called the Sons of the Harpy ambushed Daenerys in a massive fighting pit. Thousands of masked rebels surrounded her, cutting down her bodyguards. Just as Daenerys closed her eyes to accept her death, a thunderous roar cracked the sky. Drogon descended like a meteor, burning hundreds of rebels alive. As spears rained down on the dragon, Daenerys bravely rushed through the chaos, pulled a spear from his flesh, and climbed onto his back for the very first time, escaping into the clouds. With her unstoppable army and her fully grown dragons, Daenerys finally crossed the sea to reclaim her stolen throne, facing the powerful Lannister army. In the infamous loot train attack, the enemy lines stood proud with iron shields, but the real nightmare came from above. Riding Drogon, Daenerys ordered Dracarys, and the dragon created a wall of fire that melted the enemy soldiers inside their own iron armor, turning hundreds of supply wagons into ash within minutes. Yet this absolute power became her downfall. After losing her closest friends and 2 of her dragon children to the war, Daenerys lost her sanity. Even after the capital city surrendered and the bells of peace rang, she let her anger consume her. Riding Drogon, she rained endless fire upon the innocent citizens and children of King's Landing, turning a beautiful paradise into a burning graveyard. It was this terrifying madness that forced Jon Snow to slip a dagger into her heart later that day, bringing the legend of the Mother of Dragons and the Winged Shadow to its tragic, unforgettable end.